Hi, Sandy. This is Ginger. Wow, that's pretty. It's very Chinese looking. The way you've got this painted. Um, if you're using this one as a reference, what's nice about this one is that the look at the shadows and the shading on the koi fish. This is no different than using the one we do a ball or a cylinder. This is all about blending. This is how you do that. Use the side of your brush and you blend, okay? Goes back to the basics, all those back to basic videos that we teach. But the other thing is that these lily pads remind me a lot of night garden. Here's one a student just finished. It's not mine, it's one a student just finished. And don't those lily pads remind you a lot of that? And let's just come back here to you. Um, so I think you need you've got it. This almost looks like a Japanese kimono, and it's like a print. It has almost a flat print-like quality to it. It isn't like this. It's not. You haven't painted it. You don't have a lot of colors in your leaves. You haven't done any of that. You haven't painted it like this. So when you ask me how to be painterly, brushstrokes are going to help. Layers of color help. But on the other hand, do you need it? I mean, this is a style all by itself, okay? I mean, it just is. I don't have a feeling of water. For instance, if you remember in my core fish tutorial, we had the background was all multicolored before we ever put on a fish, right? But for me, for instance, again, I go back to this one, which is so pretty, and I love all this dark. Almost a third of this painting is dark with a little bit of the sky showing through, right? So if we were to take, I don't know if you saw your underwater, I spent about an hour on that underwater video for you and I never heard back, but I'm going to spend a little bit of time here on this. I would like to hear back from you though, on, at least acknowledge that you got this video and that you heard me. Let's see, let's open Koi 2. Okay, so here's your painting, which I think, to me it feels like a Japanese kimono or something, and I think it probably could go in an art show and do just fine all by itself. But that's not what you were trying to create, okay? So that means you need reference pad for lilies, not just, or paint those. All your water lilies are the same size, which is unlikely, and it's like you stamped everything, okay? And this flower, it's like it's not two-dimensional. It's like because we're looking straight down, so it's like you stamped everything. And again, this is a style, okay? But that being said, you still need to, let's see, I just need a new layer. You still need to um, have lights and darks. I mean, that doesn't change. So the top part of your fish has got to be lighter. He's lighter up here, okay? Um, Get it into the oranges. He's lighter up here. He's not just multicolored, you know what I mean? Look up some actual pictures of koi fish underwater, okay? Let's just get some yellows in here, okay? I mean, again, I don't think this is your style. I mean, you've got it totally. I think you'd have to change, you know what? You would have to change this painting so much that I don't know that I'd bother. I mean, really, you're going to have to change this so much. Let me just come up here and finish this top of this fish. Because you've got a totally different style here. It's like telling me you want it to look like it's an impressionist painting. And of course, now you didn't say that, right? Let me get a blender up here. But I know you didn't say that. Let's see. Let's just do this for a minute. I'm going to undo all of this. I don't like any of this. Okay, so you're saying there's I guess, what we're going to do is we're going to come down into digital watercolor. I'm just going to add some shadows. Okay, so we're going to say that we've got size of the brush. We're going to get it up here. We're going to add some shadows. Okay, on the fish where that lily pad is going over him, right like this. There. Hang on. Let's go up here to new layer. Okay, now, here we go. We're going to add some shadows here because you're saying that this lily pad created a shadow because it's sitting over the fish, and maybe there's some shadows under here too. Let's make this really big. Okay, so what happens if we add more shadows to the water? Okay, just asking. I mean, like this, and we're going to say there's some light blue, some blue ones. We're going to say here's some blue blue shadows to our water. Was that other one too dark? Kind of dark. Let's get rid of that and go here with this. A little bit less dark and less dark. Here we go. Little shadows to the water here like this, so that there's, because that's what was pretty about that. What if we had some shadows on this fish that so that he was under water too? Okay, I'm just saying, because that we might have some shadows on the lily pad so that they looked a little different than not all the same color. Okay. Maybe there was a tree branch that came over. Just everything is just too one-dimensional. I would say that's the biggest thing. It's beautifully painted. So you're at the stage now where you can literally draw anything, right? But now you're designing paintings, which is a whole nother ball of wax here, and you're just now you're trying to, let's see, let's just soften this out here like there. Okay, so I've got a little shadow on that fish, maybe even up here on this side. Let's give him a little shadow right here by his face, right? Okay, just come up here like that. Now you see how he looks like he's floating in the water. Maybe there's a little shadow here from that lily pad that's crossing over. How about this one? Maybe there's a shadow here from this lily pad that's causing a little shadow on this one. See? I mean, how do we know these guys are underwater? We don't unless you give them some dimension. You know what I mean? Now we got to put them underwater. Okay? The same thing here. It was just those are just a few of the things you can do. Again, put your fish underwater. Get them swimming. The side of the fish. You need to have him swimming. Let's see. Let's come over here with this one. See, is he swimming? I mean, you've got there's you ask about styles of painting. So then if you're saying that your center of interest is this fish right here, then this flower here just doesn't go. Okay? It's really incongruent. I would get rid of this flower and probably paint another lily pad. Let's see, new layer. Okay. Brush. Size. Okay, so this would be, for me, let's see, color, green, dark, okay? This, for me, would be a new lily, water lily, and not a pink flower. Okay, I just want you to see that then maybe they would touch and overlap, right? Okay, and they would have different colors. I mean, there would be some different colors on this. And water lilies are not just green. There are all kinds of colors in them. There's beautiful blues and turquoises, and there's colors in them. And you can, I mean, honestly, there's just so much. You talk about what's painterly. It's not brushstrokes. Bless Elizabeth's heart, that's one example, but it isn't that. It's making something really look three-dimensional and like a painting. They used to say Norman Rockwell was not an artist because he was never considered an artist in his own field. And I always thought he was, but they never thought he was. And the reason being was because everything was very illustrative. And so if you're saying that there's here, I just don't want chalk. I'm just going to take acrylic and oil and just come down here. Let's see. Here, I want a dark blue. All right. I'm going to come around here like this maybe, and I'm going to say that there's this water lily here coming in here like this. Okay, it's coming around this way. Maybe the whole thing is well, I guess, you know what? I'm running out of room here to draw this. Okay, let's just say that it goes on this side. There's our. Did you see the different water lilies we've painted in the past? The different videos we have on how to paint water lilies? You seen that? Um, um, you know, all the oranges and colors in them. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel with that. I'm just trying to get some colors in here to blend, and I'm feeling a little frustrated tonight trying to do this on the computer. But honestly, just this, just look how much better this looks. And if you did the water lily a little bit better than I just did it, um, and just actually drew it in there like this, like that. There's your water lily. I'm just saying it looks so much better than that. And of course, you're not going to outline it like this, but there's your other water lily. Looks better than that pink flower from where you're looking down on it. Okay. And my suggestion is either leave it exactly as it is and take it into the show, or you can work, you know, for several more days on this, trying to get these lily pads to look like a painting. Oh, let's see. Let's get rid of the fine camel and find a different oil brush. This real wet brush here. Okay, all right. I'm gonna get it. Eventually, I'll get it. Come on. It's not changing color on me. Your water lilies do not all have to be green. They can be other colors. This is where the layering comes in. It's too dark, bright. Here's where your layering comes in on your water lilies. They all don't have to be, you know, the same greens. They can be lighter and darker greens. This is a stupid brush. Let's change it. Let's see what else I can do. Opaque digital brush. Try that. No, don't like that. Let's try a different brush. Well, I'm going to come up here to the fine camel. Maybe the dry bristle. Let's try that. What'll that do? Ooh, don't want that. Dry bristle. All right, let me just go through here to get some different greens. Let's try a blue green. Okay, there we go. Ah, there we go. Just some sort of different colors on here. Maybe the outside edge is a little bit not so, all right, just gotta blend that out a little bit. Okay, and then you've got, dark blue. Here's your, I'm gonna come in here like that and just say that this is, you know, that's where this is splitting out here like that. Maybe a little lighter blue in here. Is that lighter blue? What's it doing? Okay. Okay, I want a little bit lighter blue in here for around the water lily, maybe something like that. Again, you have to blend all this stuff out, and I don't have 6 hours to do this. So I'm just trying to see what I can explain in a short amount of time. You know how it's coming out from the center. Your brush strokes, obviously, we've gone back and forth on this water lily. We have not come back from the center at all on this. Let's try some chalk. And maybe we can get some chalk and start doing some of this, where you've got some of these brush strokes coming out from the center of your water lily. And again, your lily pad. And again, this is, I don't have time. I'm sorry, I just don't have time to redraw this for you, but that's what you've got to do, is either leave it like, just either start adding some shadows and really paint it like a realism, or do it the way you did it, which is fine, which is a design. Let's just come back over here and snag it and just leave it alone, okay? So you can just leave it like this, though I really don't like this pink flower. But again, it sort of has that Japanese sort of kimono feel to it, all right? But it's not, you see how, look at the difference between that flower and this one that's sticking up out of the, and see all the colors on this pad? That's what kind of what I was going for. You either got to paint it like that, or you just paint it, leave it like this, okay? Because, again, this is pretty, just like this. You can just leave it like that and leave it kind of, it's a stylized picture. It's a different type of painting. And you can't get both. You've got to pick a style. And you know, this is a perfectly fine style. I mean, it's a style. I don't feel like it's it's never going to look like this. Okay, you're never going to get that without really taking the time to paint the lily pads and paint the flower like this and do all that and do all the shading on the fish and all that stuff. Um, Remember the top of the fish. Let me just come back over here. Remember the top of the fish, and you know, when you're doing it, I didn't do it because we weren't getting that complicated, but the top of the fish, they have fins that are coming up the top of their back like this. Um, they have these fins on the top of their back, and they have some shadows too. See, like that, they're coming down here like that. There's some fins on the fish, and again, that means kind of Googling um, koi fish and kind of getting that, right? So you're going to just say that there's some fins along the top of their back. They also have these ridges. Did you know that? These dark ridges that go down the top of their back too. Maybe not that dark, but they do. I mean, there's just, oh, not that dark either. What are we doing here? There is a ridge that goes down the fish's back, and then everything falls off on either side of it. Okay, so there's the shadow from that. So you've got, and again, you've got, I think we could probably even do it and go, it's coming down like this. Let's see, like that. There, okay, there's that ridge. Now, you've got it kind of here. We don't have it here, and we don't have any white fins on this one. So again, you have to ask yourself, is it prettier to just leave it alone, not put it in? I mean, there's something to be said for not putting it in too, right? Just leaving the white and just not putting it in. Say, here's my center of interest. Let's just get rid of all of that. Okay, and let's come in here like this with a little white, and just adding a few little white highlights on the top where the light's hitting it. Maybe make it brighter orange up here because the light's hitting it up here, very bright. Why doesn't that feel brighter? Okay, the light's hitting it right up here on its little head, bright orange here. So, I mean, I don't know, if you just did that and added a little bit of color to the water lily's edge, and I don't know. Just part of me wants to just keep playing with this, fixing your water lilies, because they're just so stylized, as you know, and that's because you really weren't looking at any references to do them. If you were, you weren't doing the references. Okay, let's just bring this out like that, as long as we're doing this. I do like the shadows, though. I have to say, I do think the shadows make a difference. They give the lily pond, and you know where else I'd do a shadow is, yeah, I'll show you where else we'd put one. New layers here. Let's see. I put a shadow right. Let's see, not that color. Let's go blue, like about like that. I put a shadow right under here on this side. Darken this side up quite a bit. For sure, this side would get really dark. See, to kind of balance out that other side. Probably would, you know, definitely balance that. See, size. Bring the shadow in here around this fish like that. Okay. Maybe we'll make this okay, like that, something like that. I definitely balance this, and probably make a. We'll take the wash brush and probably take a green and make a wider brush. See, I can't leave it alone. I was going to quit like about 10 minutes ago. So I would probably darken this one. Okay, like that. There you go. Darken that one and darken the top of this one and make it slightly underneath that one. Okay, like still darkening some of these. You know, just make them less important. Even just a glaze, a wash over, I think makes a difference. Okay. All right, and then this one is going to be. Is there a little bit of a shadow here from this one? Would it make any difference if we added it? Nope, it doesn't. So maybe it would be a purple shadow. That's an interesting thought. What would purple look on some of this like? Just dark here. Would it make any difference right here? Nope. Okay. So just darken this one up then. Okay, maybe not that dark. Let's leave it alone. All right, that's my 2 cents worth on what to do with this. Because it's very hard to switch styles. It's very hard to. You've got to pick a style and go with this. Let's see, where are we? That's this one. Let's go back to Painter. All right, see the difference? It's very hard. I want to just do some white here. Right here on the top of this. New layer. Right on top. I want some very nice white right here. Right on the top there. There we go. Just have this little bit of part be underwater and this not. That's nice. Okay, so those are part of me. I'm still playing with the water lilies, adding a bit. Got to figure out where you want your lights and your darks. So part of me wants to just, I can sit here all night and just doodle with that. And if you don't have one of these painter programs, they're really nice because you can make all the changes that you want digitally, and if you don't like them, you're not stuck with them. All right, so that's the most I would say you could do with this. Where are we with the blender? Digital watercolor. And maybe exaggerate some of those bubbles because you don't have your bubbles. You're not looking down at the bubbles from the top. Okay. I'm not looking those bubbles. You don't have those bubbles right either. You've got to be looking down from the top on those. Let me just new layer, new layer. Okay, what do I got here? I'm gonna just you really, let's see, I think that's too dark. Let's try this. Just, those are fine, these are fine. I'm not sure that you're looking down enough on these. What you have to do, let's see, let's just take it and select all layers and collapse layers, okay? So then at this point, I would say that the top of this is, the top of your bubble has to be the light part. The light's hitting the top of your bubble because you're looking down at it. You're looking down at the bubble, not the way we, So if you're saying, so you start with a white bubble like that. Just start with a white bubble. Okay, like that. So there's my bubble. Now come around and start shading it around the side so that you're only looking down at the bubble. The highlight of the bubble is on the top, not the. There's your highlight. Let's see, it'd be nice to be able to see it. Oh, let's get this up here. This is the highlight on the top of your bubble right there. See, there's the highlight because you're looking down on the bubbles, not, it's the highlight's on the top of them. Okay, it's not, you don't see the dark in the middle. Okay, and it probably would glaze over that, so it's not so bright. But that's your, and then you have your shadow on the side of them. Okay, and then generally speaking, you do a little bit of light around the outside of them. Something like that, but no, okay. Well, anyway, we've got those videos on how to do those too. So that's my thought on the bubbles. Just a few little highlights on the top. Let me just take this and snag this, bring it over, show you what happens when you add shadow. Okay? You can see where I stopped. Well, actually, I stopped the glazing right there. I didn't realize that was the whole thing. I lost some of the picture. But you can see, look at that, and now look at this. See the difference? No flower, you know. And I bring, of course, the shadow all the way over, not just here, right? Um, anyway, hope that's helpful. And let me know if you got this.